Hi everyone, today is May 30th, 2018, and you are tuning in to episode 57 of Hungry Gaming Podcast. Before we begin, there is some housekeeping. Please remember to check out our main website, www.hungrynetwork.com. There you can find all of our latest episodes, and you can subscribe to make sure you never miss a beat of what to say. You can find us on iTunes, Podbean, Google Play Music, Stitcher, and other affiliate podcast services by simply searching Hungry Gaming Podcast. If you have something to say, a comment or recommendation, join the jury by liking our Facebook page and tweeting us at Hungry Gaming Podcast. And back from the dead, Justin has come back to join the podcast for our weekly episodes, so that way our conversations can be a little more fruitful for you guys, since you guys are probably listening to me talk by myself for a while. Might be just fine in the mini episodes, but I wanted a little more conversation in the weekly ones. So he's back, and he's going to be joining us weekly as we discuss all of our gaming stuff. And let me tell you, this week's episode was fantastic. A lot of fun. We discussed the Sea of Thieves, the Hungering Deep DLC or expansion pack or whatever you want to call it. I'm not really sure what we should call it. We also spoke about Pokemon's new game coming on November 16th. Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, whichever one you want to refer to it as. And then we also spoke about Bethesda's announcement of Fallout 76. A lot of stuff in this episode just kind of jam-packed in there. Again, trying to keep it within an hour, so there's just a lot of conversation. So I hope you guys can just sit back, relax, and enjoy as we ramble on. Literally a ramble. But you guys are going to have a lot of fun. We did discuss. Trust me. I promise. You'll like it. Figure out what we're going to say. I don't know how I want to start this podcast. Actually, we could literally just start it like that. I have no clue how I want to start this podcast. Like, you know, like I could start like by saying we're live or all right, here we go. You know, I don't know. One of those things.
Oh, we can start off of talking about how we're both impressed of the changes of Sea of Thieves.
I am impressed. I'm more impressed with the fact that I didn't have to wait for it. I don't know if this ever happens to you when you stop playing a game, right? And because you stop playing it, you're not like itching for like the update to come. Because like when you play the game and you know there's an update coming, you're like constantly like looking up. You're looking. I know this happens to me all the time. Like I'm on Twitter and I'm like looking. But since I wasn't playing this game for a while, it kind of just dropped on me. Like I just saw people on Twitter going, "Hey, Hungering Deep, you know, like got released," and I was like, "Oh, this is nice." So it was nice, you know. It was a little nice surprise.
Yeah, I think the major issue with the game leading up to its release was the narrative that Rare was pushing, which is this game is going to take hours or hours of your time leading up to you becoming a pirate legend. And when you propagate that type of narrative, what you're basically telling the people who are looking into buying the game is, hey, we're constantly going to have content for you here. There are constantly going to be different things to do on your journey to getting there. And once you do get there, there's going to be established fun end game in place. And we've discussed at length why that wasn't the case. So once you stop viewing the game that way and view it more as something that you can pop in and out of, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the fact that I just jumped in today, I was like, hey, look, it just happens to be that there's an update, and now there's legitimately more things to do. The economy is fixed as well. We can talk a little bit about that, about how things are much more affordable now. So, yeah, I'm excited about the potential of the game moving forward, and I think I'm going to view it as much more of a long-term sort of, even though I know it's not early access, it's sort of that early access feel where it's never going to really feel like a game with a full amount of content until maybe a year or 2 years from now, which is also why I hope that they don't, when these new updates come out, delete all the stuff that they included in the last update. For example, this Megalodon quest, why not just keep it? Just let it ride through. I mean, I get the incentive of trying to bring people in during certain periods. And if you want to do that, that's fine. Just have a specific item that they can only get, like that one sniper that they had that you can only get if you sign in within that 2-week span. But don't take away such a major quest that draws people in and is one of the only quest that
it's like the only quest, like currently,
that deviates from your current 3 voyages, right?
Yeah, I don't know of any other like direct quest where there seems to be like a campaign and things telling you where to go, objectives. There's really nothing like that in the rest of the game. I mean, the most that I've seen is like what you said, the whole the little missions that you have, those little things that you have to do. the merchants
Voyages.
and the voyages. That's exactly it. Now, the one thing that I do know that I've always liked about Sea of Thieves is that, and it's kind of like the same thing that I liked about Destiny. Ooh, I know. We're going there. It's the fact that it's kind of like make your own memories type game. I know there are a lot of games that like they kind of hold your hand and, you know, tell you like, hey, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. This game is so open sandboxy that for the most part, it lets you kind of create your own memories, which I like. You know, like I think that's what I liked about this game. The fact that we get more content out of it is nice as well. But I'm with you. They need to keep the content. It don't have it go away. Now, there are a few things that I've realized, and this has been going on for, I think, the last time I logged in. They have removed some items from the store. They've removed some of the sales. They've removed some of the hulls. So, you, like, for example, the hull that I have, I think, what was it? The Admiral hull, I think it is. It's not there. You can't buy it anymore. So that doesn't exist. So there are things that you can't buy. So there's content kind of like, I guess, it's they're removing content to add more content. And I'm not sure if they're doing that to make some level of like exclusivity for those who did manage to get it. Kind of like the seasonal stuff. Overwatch, Blizzard loves doing that with Overwatch. And Hearthstone and all that stuff where, you know, there are certain, I don't know if Hearthstone does it, but I know that Overwatch, there are certain skins you can only get in a season. So if you get the skin during that season, you're shit out of, if you don't get it, you're shit out of luck. And then you see somebody else playing with it, and you're like,
Hearthstone does it with the card backs, but I think you and I are,
absolutely.
Yeah. You and I are the same mindset there. The exclusivity for cosmetic items, some of that's fine. I mean, that's incentivizing people to be consistent with the amount that they're playing and staying a part of the community. But just
you're focusing on the quest, right? Like on like the actual like
exactly
things to do. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm with you. I'm with you on both. I don't like having. I like the idea of having this content blocked off by time. Because I like to be able to say I was there at that time and I got this cool looking gun or whatever. But I'm totally with you. Like the Megalodon needs to stay. Do we know? I don't think we talked before this, and we didn't cover this. But do we know if the Kraken is still something? Like, is it? Or are they maybe fixing it up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Pretty sure it is. I
don't know, man. You know what's funny? A lot of people were soured up by the Kraken. I know Lewis was like super disappointed, and I can't say I'm disappointed because I kind of figured what it was going to be. I told him, I was like, dude, there's not gonna be anything under it. It's just gonna be tentacles floating everywhere. And man, when I found out that it was exactly that, I was like, yeah, I guess I was right.
Could you imagine that you fight the Megalodon and it's just a shadow in the water, and when you jump in, it's invisible?
Yeah, man. Can you imagine? Or like it jumps out of the water, and then when it goes into the water, it just disappears. Like it's not there anymore. It would make the game incredibly creepy, that's for sure. But I think it would create a lot of people, just gamers being upset. And you know how gamers are. If they don't get it their way, sometimes rightly so, the backlash is usually worse than the amount of money you can spend on a developer doing something. So in this case, having the Megalodon actually be visible underwater, I think was something good from Rare. Now let's talk a little bit about what exactly this new I guess you could say expansion. It's an expansion, right? It's like
a mini expansion. Really.
It's a mini expansion. I mean, I don't think we're going to expect anything more than this. The roadmap has already said that we're going to have some content drop, which was this one, and then another one in the summer. Yes. So this is what we should expect as Sea of Thieves players. Now, the first thing is, what did this expansion or DLC or whatever include? And we can safely say it included new sales, which is kind of nice. Predominantly, Justin, I know you're excited about this. They're affordable sales. Finally, like we can actually afford to change the way the ship looks without having to spend 70 hours doing something.
Yeah, for a player like me who doesn't jump in as much as someone like you might, it's nice to be able to have a little bit of customization. And you actually alluded to this before, which I think is really smart of them. The idea that now crews can join up together based on a color, and new players are able to achieve that and can spot other crews that are flying those same colors without having to spend a fortune to get the same flag or the same sails as someone else.
It's great because they did actually add a flag system. So before we only had that white flag, which was kind of ridiculous considering the fact that it was just white. So if you'd see ships around, you'd be like, which was my ship? So now they give you a variety of flags that you can fly. You can fly like the crossbones with the skull. You can also fly like, was it checkered, like it was like a race flag, which is really nice. I mean, it's nice. And then they have just solid colors. I prefer the solid colors because I think from far away, it does make a difference, especially if you're grouping up, if you're fleeting up, you can definitely say, hey, we're flying under the red banner, or the green banner, and then we know, at least we know. Justin, remember when we did the fort that we had like 4 galleys all there at once, and we'd be like, dude, which is our ship, man? like you'd be on the island or on the fort and you'd be like, wait a minute, I'm trying to get back to my ship, but I don't know which one it is because we have like 4 galleys. They all had the basic paint, same sails. So at least the flag ups, and definitely with the sails as well.
We also get tattoos and scars,
which you jumped in immediately. You were like, I'm getting them. I want one.
The more you can customize your pirates. I mean, the pirates already have sort of a silly look to them. So it's something that can toughen them up, make them look a little cooler. The first thing I did was run over and buy some that were like pistols and swords so I can put them all over. I'm trying to look badass. I want to scare people while I'm out there. Unfortunately, my dude looks a little loony, so it's not really working the way I want to. But a few more hours invested, a few megalodons killed, and who knows, may be able to look a little bit more badass.
We actually haven't done a voyage since the update, which I feel horrible in saying, but we haven't. So I don't really know if they've improved the economy of what they're giving for each. Let's say for the gold hoarders, each chest. But I'm hopeful to say that maybe with maybe at least some sort of change. If not, I mean, then at least we can afford the basic sails. Okay, yeah. So that's good. I mean, we can afford red, blue. I think it's like red, green, blue, white. I think black for sure. Black is available. White's basic. So they wouldn't sell white. That'd be funny.
No. And the encouraging thing about it too is that it seems like, so it turns out that they actually have 8 content updates planned for the rest of 2018, which is enormous considering we're basically in June already. Yeah, so you're looking at more than one every month. But it seems like it's going to be tailored towards emphasizing the multiplayer component of the game, right? This Megalodon quest, you actually can't even summon the Megalodon without at least 5 players in your party. Meaning, even if you have a full galleon filled with 4 players, it's still not enough. They're forcing you to go out and to interact with other players and say, hey, let's go do this together. And what's great, just like all the other quests and voyages, the one credit I have to give to Rare is that they allow you to do anything regardless of the level you're at. So even if you haven't done any of the steps that you have to do to get to the Megalodon, you can still find another 4 people, the person who has gone up to that point in the quest, say, hey, follow me. I've already done what I've had to do to get the Megalodon, and you summon it, and then you can defeat it with the other 4 people in your party.
I absolutely agree. I think that's actually one of my biggest gripes with most online RPGs or co-op RPGs where you play together with a friend. They have level caps or level level walls where you cannot do something with somebody else unless you've reached that milestone or you've done that quest or you've done this or that. And it's evident in Destiny, and I'm sure it's evident in other games as well that have that same mechanic. But it's really, really frustrating when you want to play with somebody, they buy the game, and then they're locked out behind 20 hours of gameplay. And you just want to play a quest with them or you want to do a raid. So absolutely, kudos on Rare for keeping their word too, because I remember the game came out and I was like, oh man, I really hope they stick to this. Because people are inherently always eager to find ways to stand out, and in doing that, Rare might fall to the temptation of doing like, level, what do they call it? I forgot the mechanic behind it, but it's just pretty much level,
level scaling, right?
Level scaling. That's exactly the word. Yeah, level scaling. Which I'm glad that they're not doing that. So you and I, we were able to play. I think like 25, and you're like level 12, like in general on average. So and that's great. And nothing changed for us. Nothing changed for you. Nothing changed for me. It was the same game.
Well,
same
I do get
experience.
a little bit more rewards, which is nice. and I honestly think it'd be catastrophic though for Rare if they didn't decide to do it the way they do, because especially with the way the game launched, and the complaints from gamers about the level of content, I'm sure that, and this is just me speculating, but the majority of people who bought the game have fallen more into the habit of what I've done with it, which is play it a few times over the first couple of weeks, right? Invest 20, 30 hours in it, and then eventually say, you know what, there's not really enough here. So to encourage those people to come back, if you come back and like you say, you have those level walls there, and then all of a sudden I can't do these grand epic quests that you're letting these other people who have been dedicated to the game, kudos to you, and thank you very much to you for helping me level up. It would just, I'd be like, no, forget it. Why do I want to put all that work in? So it's the gamers like you, my friend, who grind it out, who allow gamers like myself, selfish gamers like myself to read, your rewards. So thank you.
It's funny because I only did it for the damn sales. That's all I wanted.
And now they're so cheap.
Well, no, actually, I don't even know if they're available. Well, no, I'm sorry. Scratch that. I did it for the hull. But
the hulls are the ones that you bought are still at the same price.
Still at the same price.
Which is smart of them, I think, to not diminish your achievement or your accomplishment after all those hours.
And even the sales that they released are the ones that are 7,000 coins or gold coins or whatever they're calling them. They're not as intricate or as pretty as the ones that are worth 70 or 140. They're just basic colors, which we said this about a few podcasts ago that we were okay with this. In fact, we want this. Release mediocre things that you can customize with and let the players that are playing more get rewarded with more intricate content, so let me change the color of my ship and the sails with basic amounts of money. But then if I really, really want to get complicated and look even better, then let me do the grind, that's fine too. I'm okay with that. I mean, I appreciate there are people who have more time than I do. So, and they should be rewarded for their time as well. But at least have content for the little people, let me change the color of my sails. There are some things though I think the game still needs improvement on. Before we jump into that, I just want the quest is, the little that we've done, I think is kind of fun. I just hope it doesn't end like in an incredibly boring, we'll see. I'm skeptical about it because I'm excited about it. When I'm excited about something, I tend to get worried because then I know that I'm opening room for disappointment. Yeah. So that's that. But for the most part, the quest is quite interesting, But yeah, what the game needs improvement on, I definitely think that they improved on the whole matchmaking thing, which I like. Now you can jump into a closed group, which I like because nobody needs to jump into my ship. I don't care about having randoms matchmake with me. But I still think that maybe I don't know, like something along the lines of like better, I don't know, like as a pirate game, I feel like there's very little customization when it comes to the actual ship. So that element with me is lost. I want more customization for the particular ship. Maybe change the colors of my cannons. I thought that there was going to be a little more of that instead of like these like just general, outfits that you put on your ship. I don't know if that would be too hard. It doesn't seem like it would be too hard to just add like maybe change the color of the mast, change the color of the cannons. It would be cool to have different cannons, different steering wheel, considering that we stare at it so much. So that's stuff like that. The lights of the lanterns, but that's all just hopes for, for more things. We are aware that there is going to be a new style of ship coming up in the summer though, right? Like I think that we were hinted at it. Super excited. I'm
assuming it's going to be for 3 people considering the other 2 ships are 2 and 4.
Yes. Yeah, I think so too. And I think they should I think that that's a perfect ship, actually. Like, I think it's like, it's going to be just the right ship. Because the sloop, 2 people is fine, but sometimes that third person makes a difference, and obviously you can't put a third person on the sloop. So I'm assuming that this one's going to be maybe a 2-2, so 2 cannons on each side, right? Maybe 2 masts. So you have 2 people. Like, I think it's going to be improved. So that's pretty excited.
But Mondo, I thought it only took 2 to tango.
Oh, no, not anymore. Now you're going to be third wheeling the whole time. The whole time.
Puns. Yeah, I'm so sorry for our listeners. That was god awful.
And we suddenly lost everyone. If you can't handle the cringiness, you can't handle the podcast. Get out. Okay, another piece of topic for this week that I thought was really exciting. And I mean, you and I have been like fangirling, fanboying, anything you can call of over obsession. This is so exciting. The Switch is finally getting a Pokemon game, but it's not like just a Pokemon game. We're going back to the roots, and I am so excited. You know, like, so do you want to talk a little about this, or do you want me to just spearhead into it? Because I mean, this is really exciting.
Into it. You sound pretty excited.
I am excited because, first of all, that commercial was just pure gold for me. I remember as a child playing Pokemon Red, Pokemon Blue, but I never played Pokemon Yellow. But I'm assuming, obviously, like, it was freaking awesome. So Nintendo is finally pushing Pokemon to the Switch. Is releasing November 16th. But the cool part is that we're going to get a game that emulates in some way. It's like obviously a very cool looking modern game, but emulates Pokemon Yellow and fuses the elements of that RPG game with Pokemon Go. So what essentially you get is like this modern Pokemon game, right? Where you can capture, I think it's got the 151 Pokemon, which obviously, and you can capture these Pokemon the way you could in Yellow, but you can also take the game with you in Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go will remain the same way, but you can capture the Pokemon that way and send them to your game on the Switch.
So cool.
And it just fucking blew my mind, man. Like, I was like, that's it. I'm not having a life after November 16th. Like, it's crazy. Besides all of that stuff, obviously we get the cool fact that now we get, this Pokemon Go game is like, I'm calling it Pokemon Go, but it's Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu or Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. They're 2 different like versions, So like, I'm assuming it's the. Is it like similar to? Let me check it out. Let me just confirm.
They actually
is it similar to like?
It's supposedly a complete reimagining of Pokemon Yellow, so it even takes place in the same region and has a very similar map.
Right? Yeah,
has a very similar map to the original as well. So it's going to be a combination of the Go mechanics, obviously the Pokeballs and the catching the Pokemons the way you do there, and of the core series, the RPG elements from there, which I think is the perfect mix. Because one of my biggest disappointments after a while, because admittedly, when the Pokemon Go craze was happening, I was caught up in the middle of it, just like half the population was really. But after a certain point, I was like, man, I can't believe they haven't updated this to at least let you battle your friends. Maybe not be able to do it at gyms, but it really can't be that difficult to let you battle your friends. But the fact that now you can do that, now that all the hard work you put in swiping and walking around looking like an idiot outside will actually pay off in game and actually incentivize us from here until now, because we still have a while until it comes out, to continue to catch Pokemon, is pretty cool. I think it's extremely smart on their part, because obviously Pokemon Go is never going to get to the heights that it did during that 3 or 4 month period when it was just insane. And by the way, anyone who bought stock and Nintendo then, good on you. That was smart, and I hope you sold it right after that, right after it hit its peak. But this is exciting. This is real smart. I'm glad they're finally porting it away from the DS, as much as I understand why they kept it there, right? Because it really was the strongest selling point of why you should buy a DS, because you weren't able to get a main core series Pokemon game anywhere else. I think it's time to let it go. I don't know the rest of the song. That's it. That's all I know from it.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's obvious that Nintendo's going to push the Switch. It only makes sense. I mean, it's the flagship console of
fastest
the
selling
company.
console of all time, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, with a lot of potential, and I feel like this game just fits the bill. I mean, it makes perfect sense to have it on the Switch. And the way it looks, it's an absolutely beautiful game. And I'm with you. They are incredibly smart. They figured, hey, if we connect the Go system with the game itself and we release it, they have it released for November 16th. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm already incentivized to start playing Pokemon Go again. Because I'm like, all right, if I can get a Pokemon now, right, and hold it, it means a Pokemon that I'll have November 16th. I don't know how the mechanic's going to work, but at least I can say, you know what? I'd rather have it than not have it, right? So that'd be really cool. I think that they're incredibly smart. That commercial, the trailer that they released, was very punchy, got straight to the point, and I loved it. I thought that their marketing was great. I mean, they know exactly who their demographics are. They know exactly who it is. I mean, they had I think 3 seconds of a child playing the game, and then everything else is millennial, like our age, like anyone between the age of 18 to 35 was in the commercial, because that's who they're pushing at. Anybody who was born in early 90s, late 80s.
It's the perfect sweet spot between that nostalgia that's going to get players like you and I to come back to it. Although, admittedly, I don't have a Switch, something I may change because of this game.
You've got 6 months to go. So
that's true.
Or even, yeah.
And but while also incorporating those Pokemon Go elements that the younger generation absolutely loves and adores. And even more importantly, we're also forgetting that you can play this game with one hand. With the Joy-Con Switch in one hand, and it allows for the first time ever 2-player co-op in a Pokemon game. You can jump in, couch co-op.
Looks amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And you know that we're both gonna fall for this. That Pokeball looks awesome.
It looks so cool.
It looks so cool. I mean, you can practically hold the Pokeball and use it as a controller.
I mean, it is a controller.
Yeah, it is a controller, and I thought it was so cool. I thought it was great. I love how Echo in the background's I want to hear you. I want to talk to you.
Yeah,
I want to hear you.
I'm not sure what's going on with Echo, but she's
oh my god,
she's acting up.
She's listening. What is she saying? She's listening at all times. Well, Amazon got caught. Well, not Amazon got caught, but there was news reports of an Echo recording somebody's conversation and sending it some random content.
She did. I don't even want to say her name because it'll probably create more issues. But apparently she did the same exact thing that just happened right now, which is she heard her name being said in the background. Then it was just a train of mistakes, and then she heard her saying call, and then she heard a specific name, and then she heard the say yes, and so ended up recording the whole thing. But no, it wasn't on purpose or anything like that. At least I hope not, because if it is, my God, Alexa has. I mean, I'm never running for office. That's for sure.
She who must not be named from now on. No. But yeah, honestly, Pokemon, I'm super excited. I think this is excellent. And you're right. The fact that you can co-op is insane. Because, people are going to want to buy the game anyways, but now the fact that your friends are going to bully you into it, because they will, it's great. Now you're just going to be yeah, dude, you should definitely get this. Because that way you have your Pokemon and all that stuff, and then you could just sit in the couch and you can just play out of one system, out of one console, just bam.
Now let's talk about the implications of what this means for the DS, though, right? Up until this point, the DS has been the exclusive place where you could play the main core series, and they still are going to have their own core series releasing on there. I forgot what the title of those are called. But do you think this is going to diminish the DS sales moving forward?
Look, every time a company comes out with a better console, or not a better console, because it is arguable. There are people who do like the 3DS. But when you have a flagship console like the Switch, especially the way the Switch came out, because the Switch came out swinging hard. It wasn't it came out and it kind of made some waves. No, that shit came out and it made a lot of waves. It's bound to happen where it's going to steal some of the market share from the smaller consoles or from the lesser console. Did I expect it? Yes. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if like 3 years from now, if the Switch is still like the first gen Switch and they don't have a second gen Switch out, I wouldn't be surprised if the 3DS was kind of like fading out. More and more, they're going to start expanding and using the capacity, the capabilities of the Switch. And I think the 3DS might just fade out. But that's my thought. I know a lot of people who like the 3DS. They might not like it. I mean, it's not even about power at this point, because look at the Nintendo, the Super Nintendos are selling like crazy. You know, so
but in reality, what function?
I could be really wrong.
We both could be. Obviously, we're speculating, but what real function does that have over the Switch now, right? So it was always its portability before, but the Switch is extremely portable. Yeah, the battery life may not last as long as the DS does, but now if you're incorporating the same games that you're able to incorporate over there with more functionality, and you can place it on your TV whenever you want, I just don't see any reason why, if you go to GameStop or you go to Walmart or wherever it is that these places are scamming you to buy consoles for your kids, you stop by and you say, you know what, I could spend $150 on this DS or $200 on this 3DS, or I can spend $299 and get my kid this Switch or get myself this Switch. Just it seems like a very simple upgrade.
I'm with you, and I completely agree with you. I think that the fact is that the more of the Switch has made such an impact in the market for Nintendo that people might be willing to pay that premium rather than just say, I'm settling for the 3DS. Whether it'll stick or not. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people remember when I can't even remember what it's called, but it's like the 3DS Lite. It's like 2D. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It's like the cheaper version. That got some traction too, and that was even cheaper than 3DS. So maybe the 3DS gets faded out because it's in the middle, and people just kind of push to the lower one. And I don't know, man. Honestly, you and I know very well that Nintendo is, how can I say, it's not spontaneous, but you can't tell what they're going to do. And you can't tell that what they're going to do is actually going to hit hard or not, but they make the weirdest, I mean, come on, dude, Labo
the cardboard
or Labor or whatever.
Stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
And even then, when it got released, people were like going crazy over it. And I'm like, seriously?
Regardless, the one thing we are sure of is that they are absolutely dominating the handheld market at this point. And they look like they're going to continue to for the foreseeable future. So, I mean, as gamers, though, we're very lucky to be living in, for the most part, what seems like a renaissance of gaming, right? It was very rare. I mean, people will probably say this about TV as well, because, there's like hundreds of shows, but there's never been a point in history where you've legitimately had 3 consoles. Unfortunately, the Xbox probably the weakest out of the 3, but 3 separate consoles that all have, exclusive titles that all have their own strengths and weaknesses, that are all legitimate contenders for your time and your money. And if you're lucky enough or nerdy enough like you and I are, you can own all 3 or all 4 or whatever and really enjoy the riches of that.
I'm with you. And to be clear, the Xbox has an excellent console.
Yes.
I mean, we Xbox, what's killing Xbox is not Xbox. It's Microsoft.
Yeah.
That's what's killing Xbox. Microsoft is strangling itself with the fact that it just will not release exclusives that have the punch that they need to fight against the exclusives that Sony has and Nintendo. And for whatever reason, Microsoft maybe they're putting themselves thin by doing other things. I don't know. But if they actually came out with strong exclusives, the Xbox One X would technically be the biggest contender in the market because it's the most powerful console, and it would have exclusives behind it. Unfortunately, it doesn't. And the Switch is the most underpowered console in the market. Like when you put them side by side, the PlayStation 4 Pro or even the PlayStation 4 normal and the Xbox One S.
But games,
and look at it.
Games. That's
games,
the takeaway from
games.
this. It's at the end of the day, you can try to package your console as this home entertainment device, as this Swiss Army knife that can do it all. But no one buys a console, or let me not say no one. That's putting a blanket over all gamers. But the vast majority
Not many
of gamers, yes, don't buy it for that. We buy it for the games. Yes, the UI, the user interface makes a difference. Yes, the hardware, the specs underneath the hood makes a difference. But just like when you buy a car or anything else, if it doesn't, if the inside is not nice, if you can't go anywhere with it, what's the point? And then it's just sitting there and it's pretty. And believe me, my Xbox has been sitting there looking pretty, while my beat up PS4 has been used much more often recently. So games are what's important, and Nintendo releasing this Pokemon on the Switch, especially after there's been a little bit of a gap in terms of exclusives for them. It's a brilliant move on their part. So I think that's going to keep the Switch in the running for the best selling console at least, another year. So let's see what happens.
I'm with you. And I think it will definitely be a 2018 contender. We can bet that Nintendo's going to hit hard with it, and they're going to push it. They're already started marketing right now. We're recording May 30th. So that's a long time ahead. And I can promise you they're going to take every single step of the way. It's going to be a strategic point. And when Pokemon releases in November, it's going to be mayhem. I mean, to slowly start cutting this off, but do you remember when Pokemon Go came out? It literally crashed the App Store.
Yeah.
When Pokemon Go came out, it crashed. They had to release it by regions, I think. It was ridiculous. So God knows how this is going to affect the eShop if you plan on buying it digitally. Hopefully they do like a pre-download. Anything else on this before we move on to, I know you're a huge fan of Fallout. I know a lot of people listening to this podcast are a huge fan of Fallout. So you okay with shifting gears here before we talk about that?
Yes, let's definitely talk about Fallout.
Fallout. Bethesda had what seems to be like a pre-E3 kind of like teaser for everyone.
Yeah,
like, hey, we're going to tell you guys. Yeah. And with that, we got Fallout 76. Now, I'm not one for Fallout lore. I don't dive deep into it enough, but I've seen enough videos, and I know that Fallout 76 makes reference to a vault that is referenced throughout the series. I mean, we're talking like there are multiple games that make reference to this vault. Is this correct?
That is correct. In Fallout 3, you can actually find it in the Citadel. It's a console that references all the vaults throughout the U.S., or at least throughout the Eastern Coast, and one of them is Vault 76 in Virginia. And the trailer does the song that's playing in the trailer does reference West Virginia, so most people are assuming that's where it takes place. Which, by the way, Bethesda, if you're listening in, I just want to say, stop discriminating against the bottom half of the East Coast. Florida can be pretty nice. There's a lot of swampland down here. I know you did that for one of your expansions, but geez, it doesn't all have to be in the Northeast.
Can you imagine, like, you walk out of a vault and it's just like swampland, and you're like, fuck. You're like, where do I go?
Swampland and Cuban cigars.
I mean, if you really put about it, if you really think about it, you've got swampland, nuclear fallout. You got alligator people now.
That would be super cool.
That would be very cool. Instead of the those crab thingies that are impossible to kill from Fallout 4. Now we're talking alligator people with guns and and cigars. It's a very fucked up world, But hey, you know what? But the trailer was the teaser, because this was a teaser.
Yeah, there wasn't much to see in it.
It wasn't much. It was cool though. I mean, we got a look inside what we presume to be Vault 76, right? Like it seems to be like that. It seems to be like a party going on, everything, like almost like a celebration. They called it. Oh, what did they call it? There was a banner inside the lobby at the end of the trailer. I cannot remember what it said. That's exactly it. That is exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. I mean, all we know as of right now, and this is just a rumor, it's reportedly an online survival RPG. We do know for sure that it's coming out on all three consoles. Whether Switch later in the future, not sure, but we know because it's already up for pre-order on Amazon that it's coming out for Xbox One, for PS4, and for the PC. But despite it being a survival-based online multiplayer game, supposedly it's also still going to have very strong RPG elements, which I don't see how you could make a Fallout game without it. So it will still have quests, it will still have a storyline, base building. I'm really curious to see whether they can incorporate that with the multiplayer components that they want to in a way that's effective. Because my first instinct is to, because of the success of all, of Fortnite and all the recent battle arena games, to say, okay, is this them cashing in on this multiplayer craze that's going on right now? I really hope they're not selling out. But this game has been in development for a while now, even before the explosion of all these recent multiplayer games. So I want to give Bethesda the benefit of the doubt and hope that maybe this is that first RPG that finally hits the sweet spot between that multiplayer component that allows you to play with friends and still incorporating that RPG element, in it that you said wasn't handled so great in Elder Scrolls Online.
I think the RPG was handled just fine, but it was more of like an MMO. Look, when I went into Elder Scrolls Online, maybe naively or with ignorance, I was expecting a Skyrim, like a Fallout. You know how Skyrim is like Fallout's brother. Like one's fantasy, the one's like sci-fi. I was expecting something like that, where you physically aim, you look, you walk the world. It was more along those lines, but the Elder Scrolls is really more of like a click, like you select where the person wants to go, and then you click on an enemy, and the character attacks the enemy. And honestly, that's not what I wanted from the game. I wanted just like a Skyrim where there were NPCs and people in the world, which I'm hoping that's where Fallout 76 falls, because that would be really cool if you walk out of a vault and you've got like random people running around doing their thing. Now whether they have like a PvP element to it, that's gonna be tough. My guess is that maybe they can have kind of like what RuneScape does, where you have like an area where it's PvP. So like when you walk into it, you maybe have like a high loot reward system, or actually in a more modern time, like what the Division did, where you have areas with high loot where you can go in and fight people. That could create some issues though. Because then you'll have those people who either cheat their way through it and they get like these insane numbers, like high levels, and then it just becomes like a place where you just can't even go. So I don't know how Bethesda's gonna fix that or how they're gonna take it. We don't really know how this online is going to work, but I'm with you. They need to keep they need to keep the essence of what Fallout is. So the way Fallout has been up until now, I hope 76 follows that, with the online portion being supplemental to it. Not necessarily
not the other way around.
Not necessarily Fallout not necessarily Fallout being catered, like changed and modified to accommodate players who are only expecting an online game, because that just sucks.
Which is also why I hope that the instances in which you play, the servers are small and they're contained, right? I don't know how many players will be able to play in one, but one of the great things about that world, that sandbox like we were talking about before, is that you can really affect it, right? If you kill the town, when you come back to that town, everyone in that town is dead. Right? They don't just respawn. You're a murderer, you're a sociopath. That's all good. It's a video game though.
Manslaughter.
Some of us have to let out our frustration somehow, right? But one of the things,
these prices are just so damn high.
Yeah, right. See, one of the things that I'm sure is frustrating in Elder Scrolls, you'll go by a whole area, right? You're on your way to a dungeon. You pass by a whole area. You wipe out a whole crowd of enemies. You go into that dungeon. That dungeon is probably an instance, so you're probably going to wipe out everything, right? You'll be on your own or with a group of people. You come back out of the dungeon, and when you walk out, oh, look, all those enemies that you slaughtered on your way in are just sitting out there waiting for you, and you have to redo all that all over again. So I'm hoping there's a little bit more permanence to what you do in the world than that. Which I think State of Decay 2, the recent Xbox exclusive that just came out, may be a good example of how online co-op should work or operate, which is obviously much larger in scale, I think, what this Fallout 76 will be, but I'm hoping that permanence is what they end up sticking with.
I completely agree with you, and I think that if they stick to the Fallout formula and they add either co-op or they add some sort of instance, a server, no more than 10 people, period, I think it would be something viable. Now, how they plan on having that influence the player, like, because when you really think about it, having an online server where you're playing Fallout, right? Let's assume Fallout 4. Let's visualize Fallout 4, but instead of it being single player, you have like some sort of like people just jumping in, like a server. How would that change the game? Because if you can't attack you, let's say you can only do PvP, right? Like in certain areas. If they can't attack you, then you're pretty much just gonna run up to somebody and be like, "Hey, what's up?" Like what's the kind of interaction that they want to have amongst players? And my worry with that is that if what they're aiming for is what I'm thinking, then they might actually be pushing a little more MMO than what we're used to with Fallout. Right. And that's my worry, because my thought is they might actually just push like the 100 world server or like 50 people server. And then you've got like hubs and people are like just running into hubs and it just becomes like this like RuneScape-ish, people are just running in and out. You're just leveling up. And then, I don't know, it loses the Fallout essence. Like I've told you, one of the things that I don't find interesting about Fallout is what I think is its strength, because I don't have to like it to appreciate the fact that people do appreciate it. And it's the fact that Fallout's a lonely game, like when you play Fallout, like you said it, you can wipe out an entire town and that's it. You've wiped them out. They're gone. So it's a lonely game in that sense. Like you're playing and I don't necessarily find it that how can I say it's not, it doesn't, but I do appreciate people who do like that. So I can definitely see people who want that, and I don't want them to lose this.
No, it's that idea of venturing into the post-apocalyptic wasteland, right, on your own, or with a dog or with one companion, and discovering, places with loot, discovering enemies, and I mean, if you're really hardcore, you do the survival mode, which is, I guess, may be what they're trying to do with this game, a little bit heavier on the food and the water and the avoiding radiation. The good sign, though, right off the bat, is that it does not seem to be, unless Amazon is jumping the gun, it does not seem to be a freemium game, right? So one of the like Fortnite where you jump in and then there's microtransactions, because that would strongly indicate, okay, this is most likely not going to be what we think. If it's a $60 game, then that most likely means that there's going to be enough content on there to start off, for them to warrant it, because Bethesda would not charge $60 for a game like Fortnite, where it's just this little wasteland map that you go around with other players, and there's not much, there's just one mode that you can do, or a few game modes. They just would not do that. I have too much trust and faith in them based on what they've done in the past to believe that that's what they're doing.
That's an excellent point, because we are talking about Bethesda. We're not talking about EA or Ubisoft. We're talking about a company that has the trust of the gamers behind it. Every time they release a game, it's been a full game, it's been a completed game, and it's been a game that does not require additional purchases to enjoy. Yep. I think that with those requirements met, you pretty much win over the gamers in general. So I think Bethesda has that. I remember during when was it? I think it was, I forgot what gaming conference or whatever was going on, that they released the commercial that it was the single player, like it was a single player commercial, and it was just them like pretty much dissing on all of the companies that are forcing multiplayer. Kind of like saying like we stick with the single players.
I actually haven't seen that yet.
You haven't seen it? It's hilarious. It's like one of these like sad commercials where it's like the single players are dying out, and they're like trying to like save them, because obviously Bethesda does push single player a lot.
They really are, though. It's them and CD Projekt Red. I mean, after BioWare was bought out by EA, they've pretty much sold out. Let's not even talk about that. And we know what's going on with Anthem, which is strongly multiplayer based. And
what is going on with Anthem, huh? What is going on? Because nobody knows what's going on with Anthem. They're losing their writer. They lost their writer. They lost. I mean, it just seems like what we were all hoping wouldn't happen is happening. Like we were all hoping, oh, let this go like without hitch, no problem. Just have the game released, and everything that we said we hoped would not happen has happened.
Yep. That's a whole episode in and of itself. I'll just say this in the meantime. When Andromeda's trailers were coming out, we were talking a lot about how great it looked. And Anthem in that very guided gameplay demo, sure, it looked great. But yeah, I have absolutely zero trust in them up to this point. So although I am very curious to see what they show us at E3, at this point, I'm just going to assume that it's going to be a mediocre to good game. I'm not going to assume that it's going to be as transcendent as some of their earlier titles were.
Yeah, it's funny, and I'll leave this because we're closing up soon. I don't want to keep you guys. I'm trying to keep these episodes to an hour, so that's my goal. But it's funny because when you really look at it, it's not. I don't want to generalize. There are games that have had very bad development times and have come out and have hit the market hard and have been very popular. But when you see these games having such tension and conflict in the development stage, it's not a good sign. At least I don't see it as a good sign. People are focusing less on the quality of the game and less on what the game's about, and more on just the office politics and or the actual politics that goes on to build a game. And that I think that sucks. So I hope that they get their shit together because the game looks good. It looks like a fun game. I'm not keeping my fingers crossed. I'm not holding my breath. We'll see how it goes. All right. I think if you don't, I want to bring up one last thing. It has nothing. It's not anything news wise. I just want to let the audience know that you have joined kind of, sort of, the PC Master Race in some way. You got yourself a new laptop. And I'm excited for it. I'm really excited. I think that hopefully maybe I can get you to play some PC games with me.
We'll see. My significant other did not let me go full tilt into the PC Master Race. She did not let me get something with a real souped up GPU because most of the laptops that come with that are a little bit, they're not as professional looking, and I'm putting that in air quotes as she would like. So I found a compromise between the two. I have a new Lenovo that's got a GTX 1050 on it. It's not really that powerful, but it's enough to play some games, even the newest games on medium settings, stuff like that. So yeah, I do intend to jump in there with you and take my gaming on the road.
By the way, keep in mind that if you have Sea of Thieves on Xbox, you have it on your PC too. Yes. So you can play it on your laptop.
I know, you keep reminding me.
It's one of the, let me tell you, I throw Microsoft a lot of dirt because I think that they need to get their shit together. But one thing that I really appreciate is the whole play anywhere. I love that. I think it's fantastic. The fact that you can buy an Xbox game and play it on your PC, that's just, and you don't have to pay it twice. I think that's great. I'm looking at you, Bungie. Ugh, I have to buy Destiny twice. I'm not even playing it on PlayStation anymore. The PC version is way superior. But yeah, Justin, I'm really excited for you. I know you're dying to open it up. I know you're like, I just want to play with it.
I just got it.
Thank you for being here. You'll be joining us next week too, right? We're going to try and make this a regular. I'll be joining
you for the foreseeable future for sure.
Nice. Now I'm going to, this is a little tidbit for the audience here. I am going to change the weekly upload time from Monday to Thursday. So we're going to be recording on Wednesday, and to give myself some time, because God knows that life throws shit at you and your schedule's all over the place. And you guys know that I've missed a whole bunch of deadlines. I'm going to give myself the night to just edit and make sure that you guys get a proper quality episode. So you guys will be getting these episodes on Thursday. And every now and then, I promise you guys, I'll be throwing in mini episodes. I'll be doing mini episodes. They'll be just like 15-minute episodes of just me ranting of something that I need to get off my chest. So those will be happening as well. But for now, our weekly episode with Justin and any foreseeable guests will be on Thursday. And I'm going to try and keep them at 10:30 in the morning. But anything else? Also, I received everyone's comments and stuff like that on YouTube. I received everyone's comments on Twitter. Keep on having them. I'm going to release the game that I will be giving away for June. I would say, let's you know what? I'll be saying the game that I'm releasing the week of E3. I like that. So the episode of the episode after E3, I will be releasing the game that I've decided to give away based on everyone's recommendations. So that's pretty much it. Justin, thank you so much for being here. Go, shoot it out.
You go watch Star Wars Solo. Yes, it is being shitted on. Yes,
it is.
It is probably the weakest really entry so far, but it is not a bad movie. I know a lot of people are a little burnt out on the Star Wars movies over the last couple of years, but hey, we all go watch 2 or 3 Marvel movies every year. Don't hate on Star Wars, all right? You'll still have a good time. You'll still laugh a little bit. You'll still have fun. I want there to be a sequel, and there's not enough people watching it, so go out. Bring your friends, bring your family, and check it out. It's a decent movie. It's pretty good. 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8. I can't decide. Just go watch.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of hate, but you know what? I'll take your word for it, and I'm definitely gonna give it a watch. And I have to watch Deadpool 2, so yes. I've got to do Deadpool 2 too. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, anything you want to say, comments, recommendations, leave them. Don't try to leave them on iTunes because I really can't get comments on that. Like I got to get like a gazillion comments before they even start showing up. So iTunes is not very recommendable for leaving comments, but do rate it there. That's important. But Podbean, YouTube, if you want to leave me a comment on Twitter, any other way that you can get to me, just leave it there. Justin, do you want any handles, any out there, any shout outs so people can contact you for them to yell at you for your comments? Because
just Snoke24 everywhere I'm at. That's it.
Snoke24. So you can find Justin at Snoke24 on everywhere he's at. Obviously, guys, I have it all in the description of the show notes below, so you guys can go there. I am Roadster Mondo, and thank you for listening. I'll catch you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye.